Welcome to the April Planning Commission meeting. I'm Vice Chairman Bob Doggett. Chairman Larry Taylor is unable to attend tonight. We'd like to start with the invocation given by Commissioner Smastrola, followed by a flag salute led by Commissioner Davis. Please stand.
Dress the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
all. First item is the roll call. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Chairman Taylor. Vice Chairman Doggett.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Smastrola. Here. Commissioner Beater.
Item number 1 is approval of the minutes of the March 10 meeting. Is there discussion or corrections to the minutes of the March 10 meeting?
I move to be approved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the March 10 meeting. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Smastrola. Yes. Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Doggett.
Yes. Item number 2 is visitors. Do we have any visitors in the audience that would like to address the commission on any non-agenda items? Seeing none, we'll go to item number 3. Consideration of a second curb cut by Gary Richardson on the north side of the residence at 4521 Cypress Road.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir.
What is your project?
Well, I've got a building out in the back. I have no access to it. And right now I'm having to hop a curb to get to the back. I live on an acreage. So I was needing a curb cut so I could get a drive going down the side of the house on the north side.
Right. Okay. It looks like pretty straightforward situation.
Not much to it.
All right.
Unless you're doing it.
I have.
Uh-huh.
Believe it or not. All right. Any questions for Mr. Richardson? Any comments? Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion. In the case request of Gary Richardson to construct a second driveway curb cut at 4521 Cypress Road, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with staff findings, including all plans and attachments cited in the staff report. Move this item be approved.
Second.
Very well. We have a motion and a second to approve the curb cut by Gary Richardson at 4521 Cypress Road. Kathy, please call the roll.
Vice Chairman Doggett.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Smastrola.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you all.
You're good. Thank
Appreciate
you very much. Item number 4 is consideration of a replat of a final plat by Craft and Toll on behalf of Jim Niles at Legacy Lakes Phase 2. Do we have a representative?
Niles. Any questions? I think it's just a cleanup of changing the zoning from R1 to C3, and for the sewer line redrafting is just to clear up the original easement that was for the utilities going across phase 3.
Right. I think we've done the zoning,
Mm-hmm.
right? So really what we're doing tonight is just cleaning up an easement. So the plat shows an easement, I believe, that doesn't need to be there. Isn't that right, Mitchell?
He's refiling this to remove an easement that's not in the right place at this time.
Right.
And the other comment, it is a private street, so the private street needs to be labeled on to that Landon Lane.
Okay.
That was one of the comments of the planners,
All right.
public or private, but it is a private street, built to city standards, so.
Okay, very well. I see, okay. All right, very well. Any questions? Can we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. In the case of the application for a final plat submitted by Crafton Tall on behalf of Jim Niles, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with all plans and attachments cited in the staff reports. I move that this item be approved with the following condition. The street and utility easement should be properly notated as private and/or public.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, very well. We have a motion and a second to approve the replat on behalf of Jim Niles for Legacy Lakes Phase 2. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Smystrela,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Doggett.
Yes. Here you go, Mr. Niles. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Item number 5, excuse me, consideration of a request by Lamar, excuse me, by Lamar for a conditional use permit for a billboard to be located in a C5 automotive and commercial recreation district at 1501 West I-40.
Hi, I'm Bill Hickman here on behalf of Lamar Outdoor Advertising, and there are 2 items that they're essentially the same, but I'll speak to you a little bit about both of them. Basically, this is for a conditional use permit for a change of ownership of the sign itself. These conditional use permits were previously issued to another sign company, and those were back in 2012, latter part of 2012, and we're essentially requesting that they be reissued so they'll be in the proper name of the owner of the sign now.
Okay, so all we're really doing tonight is an owner change
Yes, sir.
on that. Okay, very well. Any questions or comments? Commissioners?
I got a question. We've got number of years.
I think,
Is that the number of years they have to construct it, or the number of
No.
years we leave it there?
I think the city planner put that in there, that you may wanna bring it out back at a later date, but a conditional use permit is renewed each year. If we have problems with the sign becoming, dilapidated or falling apart or not being kept up, then we can pull it back for review, and I think that's what she's trying to point out. Is that correct, Cindy, or?
Yes.
But it's actually an annual permit that's renewed each year. And if we have an issue, then it will come back to you. Such as a high wind come through, blows the backing off, and it stays like that, then at that time it would come back to you.
But it'll come back to us regardless in a year.
No, it doesn't come back to you unless there's a problem. Such as, like I said, dilapidated, it's blown apart, and it stays that way for a long period of time. Or it becomes abandoned and not used.
On occasion, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mitchell, there have been use permits that have been approved with a certain time limit, either because they were deemed there might be a problem that came up, or because they didn't think there was going to be a problem, so it was approved for a greater length of time. So it is just to give you that flexibility.
Excuse me. Well, this is a new sign, right?
Yes,
It will
sir.
be a new sign.
Yes, I mean, there were two old signs I think you saw in the photograph submitted that are being removed, replaced, if you will, with two modern, nicer looking steel monopole structures. And they are the same property owner on both locations. Coughlin is the property owner, and I believe they are 20-year term lease agreements at both locations.
Okay. So we would want to revisit this issue how often then?
Usually, like I said, if you leave it up to staff, if we have a problem or issue with it, then we'd bring it back for your review at that time if we could not get the corrections made.
Well, that sounds like the right way to go.
Because it's a yearly permit, so they'll,
Mm-hmm.
He's saying 20 years. It's a normal life.
That's the term of the lease, sir? Yes.
So the conditional use permit is for 1 year.
1 year time, they renew it.
Okay.
As long as they keep it up and stay in compliance with the sign ordinance, as well as keep their Department of Transportation permit up, then it would be renewed. At
Okay.
such time it doesn't comply with one of those, and it has to be removed or something done with it to repair the sign, that's when it would come back to you.
Okay. So this item number 1 would be for 1 year then?
Well, you would not want to approve it for 1 year, you just want to approve the conditional use permit, and it renews
Okay.
itself.
Okay, we don't need that condition then.
No.
Okay, very well.
Because if you put 1 year, then it comes back to you next year.
Okay. Which is unnecessary.
Yes, sir.
All right, very well. Any other questions, discussion? Do we have a motion on this item?
We're not gonna read that if we're gonna make a motion?
Correct. I think I would just skip that number 1.
Okay.
I'll make-
I'd-
Go ahead.
It's your turn.
Okay. In the case of the application for conditional use permit submitted by Lamar Outdoor Advertising LLC, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with the staff findings, including all attachments cited in the staff reports. I move that this item be recommended approval to the city council.
Very well, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 5, consideration of a request for a conditional use permit for a sign at 1501 West I-40. Call the roll, please.
Vice Chairman Doggett,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Slystrata.
Yes.
Very well, that item passed. And item number 6 is virtually the same issue.
Item number 6 is virtually, if not the identical issue, just a change of ownership of the sign companies that are, the sign company that holds this permit, and it's the same property owner, same lease term, same conditional use permit
Thing.
situation.
All right, I'll just read this into the record. Item number 6 is consideration of a request by Lamar for a conditional use permit for a billboard to be located in a light industrial district at 1649 West I-40. All right, any additional discussion on this topic? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. In the case of the application for conditional use permit submitted by Lamar Outdoor Advertising LLC, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with staff findings, including all attachments cited in the staff reports. I move that this item be recommended for approval to the city council.
Very well, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on item number 6, consideration of a request by Lamar for a conditional use permit for a billboard at 1649 West I-40. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Slystrata,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Doggett.
Yes. All right, you passed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 7, consideration for a request by Eagle Consulting for a master development plan review approval of a building permit for Leela's Plaza at 800 Garth Brooks as required by the PUD. Do we have a representative? All All right, sir. Can you tell us about your project at Leela's Plaza?
Leela's Plaza is my name is Satish Dashwarathi, and I'm with Eagle Consultants out of Edmond, Oklahoma. And I'm representing the owner here at 1800 Garth Brooks Boulevard. We're building a shopping center, and the plans have been submitted for review, and most everything is approved except for the things that we're considering looking at in here for the sign. We're gonna follow all of the sign requirements. When we have the property, all the various tenants are in place, and at that time we'll apply for sign approval, and we're gonna follow all the city requirements and the PUD requirements, and in terms of size and space for the sign. And there was one other item I think that Mitchell brought to our attention, and in terms of planting another tree along the south side of the property, and we've agreed to plant that particular whatever variety of tree he's requesting.
Okay, very well.
The type of tree that we're going to plant is some kind of an elm, a lace-back elm. And I think we're in agreement on that's what he's wanting, and that's what we'll do.
Okay, very good.
And other than that, we got all the other items in place: the site plan, the landscaping plan, the grading and drainage.
That's really what we're looking at tonight. We're not doing the signage, but we're taking a look at the elevation and the site plan and the drainage plan, essentially.
Right.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, he has provided the information that we've requested, and we've worked with him diligently. The signage would be the only thing that would have to be brought back at a future date. I think they wanted the lease people that were going to lease these spaces be able to have some input on the design as well as the size and shape, but it will have to come back to you as well.
Right.
But they have basically have advised they're willing to do that. We provided the site plan, landscape plan, grading and drainage plan, and lighting plan and building elevations for your review. Also in your packet you had the copy of the plan unit development for this development. So if you have specific questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I can tell you that there is a retaining wall being constructed along the north property line that's going to keep the water off of the property to the north from them, and that's something that they basically had brought to our attention before the project. So they've been very diligent on making sure that they meet our requirements. So
Okay.
so if you have specific questions, let me know and I'll answer those questions as we go through this.
All right, very well. Questions from the commissioners?
Is that right across the street from the old high school? Is that-
It's right south of Christian Brothers, right to the south of them. This is the first lot as you come in from the east to the west. It'll be on your right. And then there's another 2 lots that's on it, on the south side as well as to the west.
Do you have specific leasers coming in?
Sorry?
Do you have specific tenants coming?
We don't know yet. That's why we want to get the building construction done. We're probably going to be putting a sign out there, just like a temporary something to attract tenants, and it'll be a tenant finish out. And we're hoping to have all of the spaces leased by the time we get completed, building construction completed, and we'll be back here for that sign permit.
It's a nice looking elevation. How many leased spaces are there?
7.
7, and how big are they?
There's totally about 10,000 square feet. You can divide that by
Divided by 7 spaces?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a nice building.
I notice you have a 3-inch grease line and a grease trap. You planning restaurants in there? Or?
The last 2 spaces are set up for possibly, if somebody wants to put a restaurant in that corner. And also, we'll have the ability to put put those restaurants there for heating, air conditioning, and all of that. And also, we're thinking ahead and placing a
Good.
grease trap ahead of time, so that we don't have to dig up the parking lot again.
Right, right. Okay, any further discussion? Commissioner Davis, any further questions?
No, I think I'm
All right.
real satisfied.
Do we have a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion. In the case of the approval of a building permit for 800 Garth Brooks, Lilas Plaza, master development plan view for compliance with the design statement of Garth Brooks Commercial Park Phase 4, submitted by Eagle Consultants. We have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with all the plans and attachments cited in the staff reports. I move this item be approved with the following conditions. Signage will have to be submitted and approved by the Planning Commission in compliance with the Master Development Plan review and the design statement of Garth Brooks Commercial Park Phase 4.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the building permit for Lila's Plaza at 800 Garth Brooks. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Chairman Doggett,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Smystrela.
Yes.
Very well, the motion passes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, number 8 is new business.
We have no new business, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Item number 9, it's open discussion. Anybody like to bring up for discussion any new items not on the agenda? Hearing none. Next meeting is May 12th, 2014, and we are adjourned.